For centuries, France pursued an expansive colonial and imperial policy that extended its influence across large parts of Africa, the Middle East, Asia, and the Caribbean. This system was built on direct political control, military presence, and administrative governance over overseas territories, often reshaping local political structures, economies, and cultural systems in line with French interests. France retained a network of political, economic, and strategic ties with many former colonies. This continued influence is often described by analysts through terms such as post-colonial influence or France-Afrique, reflecting enduring French involvement in security, trade, and diplomacy across several regions. While Paris no longer exercises territorial control in the colonial sense, it remains an active global actor and increasingly seeks influence in strategically sensitive regions. In this context, the South Caucasus has emerged as one of the areas where France is becoming more engaged, as relations between Azerbaijan and Armenia move slowly toward normalization. After years of conflict, France has become one of the region's most active European actors. Paris presents its role around peace, democracy, and regional connectivity. But recent statements by French President Emmanuel Macron point to a broader geopolitical objective, reducing Russia's influence in Armenia and drawing Yerevan closer to Europe politically and strategically. Speaking at the Yerevan Dialogue Forum during his May 5th visit to Armenia, Macron openly questioned Russia's role in the region. He argued that Armenia had long been viewed as a satellite of Russia and said the 2020 war showed Moscow was not the protector many Armenians once believed it to be, stating that Russia had abandoned Armenia.
We mobilized for humanitarian aid and afterwards to provide military assistance. But let us look clearly at who was there alongside Armenia. France was there. However much Armenia called on Russia, Moscow was not. Russia is no more there for Venezuela when it faces problems, nor for Syria alongside its historic allies. We saw it again with Iran, despite its close ties there, and with the regime in Mali when it came under pressure from terrorists. You can clearly see, in the current geopolitical context, that it is better not to depend too heavily on Russia.
Macron also promoted the South Caucasus as a future middle corridor linking Europe, Asia, and the Middle East through open borders and regional transit routes. He welcomed communication links between Armenia and Azerbaijan and called for the opening of borders between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Turkey. At the same time, Macron argued the region should not become a battleground for competition between empires. Yet France itself is becoming increasingly active in shaping the South Caucasus politically, economically, and strategically. Some analysts compare this approach to Western engagement in Ukraine before the conflict escalated, noting similar patterns of closer ties with Europe and reduced reliance on Russia. The comparison is based on shared dynamics. Both Armenia and Ukraine were historically dependent on Russia, and both later increased cooperation with Western institutions, which Moscow viewed as a strategic challenge. France's role during the Karabakh conflict has also shaped perceptions. As co-chair of the OSCE Minsk Group, it was expected to remain neutral, but during the 2020 war, Paris openly supported Armenia politically and pushed for diplomatic pressure against Azerbaijan. Since then, cooperation between France and Armenia has expanded into defense, military technology, and economic sectors. Considering that France has lost major part of its influence in Africa, where several countries have reduced French military and political presence, South Caucasus is an important region to focus. Supporters of France's policy argue its involvement is aimed at stability and peace building, while critics see it as part of broader geopolitical competition in a sensitive region. As a result, France's role in the South Caucasus continues to be viewed in two contrasting ways, as either a stabilizing diplomatic actor or a power pursuing strategic influence in an increasingly contested region.